I'm going to tell you our project, which is about communal life in unproductive and barren areas, especially for agriculture activities in Turkey. This project, this idea based on Israel, and its original name is kibbutz. This idea came up in 19th century with some of Jewish philosophers, and it is one of the greatest collective social movements in history. Thanks to kibbutzism, Jewishes started to settle Palestine before approximately 100 years. For example, in a village or a rural area, 500 people live. And these people create a parliament and they select their own executives. Also, in these areas, everybody is equal with each other, and everything which is produced or is earned is shared collectively. There are approximately 1,000 kibbutz areas in Israel with the average population of 250, and they contain 4% of Israel's population. We think we can apply it in Turkey in a similar version. Actually, there was a kind of project in Turkey at the beginning of 1940s, which are village institutes. In these institutes, people were trained about some methods for agriculture, but they could not reach success because with the closing of these institutes, there was nothing to train about some methods for agriculture in there. Out of Israel, we have a good example about the kibbutz area from Burkina Faso, and my colleague Fırat Bilarius will talk about this example. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As my friend mentioned, today I'm going to talk about how our project was applied in Burkina Faso. First, let me give you some information about Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is among most poorest countries in the world. And although they can use just 1% of their land, most of Burkinabe people earn their lives with agriculture. In this situation, who would help the Burkinabe people? Government, EU, or environmental organization? No, my colleagues. Everybody tried, but nobody could, except one, Yakuba Savadoga. The man who stopped the desert is called Mr. Savadoga. Actually, what he has done is so simple. He made first little holes on the ground and put in some fertilizer, mixture of fertilizer, crops, and other stuff, and covers with soil. And after that, he converted huge arid area into forest with these techniques. And when he first started, everybody was mocking and laughing at him. But now, Mr. Savadoga and his techniques are so popular all around the world. And moreover, Mr. Savadoga is attending the EU conference to talk about his way of farming. But the issue is, why don't we use these techniques in our country? We can apply these techniques to several parts of our country, like the Konya, the city of tolerance, like the Çorum, the capital of Hittites, like the Yozgat. Actually, I couldn't find anything important about Yozgat, but I will conclude my presentation now. Merve will continue on our subject. Thank you for your listening.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Merve. Today I am going to talk about the benefits of this project if we can apply it in our country, helping of this project, how we can develop our country, and which type of contributions could be happen. First of all, if we can apply this project in our country, we can develop the economy of our arid regions. Because lots of people will come to Turkey and they will contribute our economy with their purchases, like visiting some places, eating some foods, entertainment, and etc. Also, if this project will continue successfully, the commercial and political relationship between Turkey and other countries could be able to develop. Also, another sector that can be developed is tourism. I think these young volunteers will revive our tourism sector. For example, they will want to see another regions of the Turkey, and this project will attract more people's attention, and the other people from other countries will want to come to Turkey to visit. On the other hand, In these arid regions, cultural diversity will increase. Foreigners and Turkish people will share their own cultures with each other. Also, they can even learn their languages. Of course, the biggest contribution of this project to our country is increasing the soil fertility. This project will provide huge contribution for more fertile soil and a better Turkey. Thank you for listening. Now, my colleague Ceren will continue.
Thank you, Margaret. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ceren Karacak. Today I'm going to talk about who participates in our project, what is the work schedule, what is the period of stay at area where we conduct agricultural activities, what documents are necessary, and what the volunteers do in their free time. Firstly, I want to talk about who participates in our project. These volunteers come from Europe, and these volunteers study agriculture, and minimum age to participate is 18, and the volunteers expected not to be over 25 years old. Official language of our project is English. Volunteers will work 4 and 5 hours per day, and period of stay varies according to season. Also, our project offers food and accommodations. Volunteers will stay as youth hostel near the agricultural land. This is our application form. If they want to have this experience, they have to fill out our application form and send a motivation letter to us. Finally, I want to talk about free time activities. It's the enjoyable part of our project. Volunteers will we will organize discussions, games, and competitions, and also we will arrange a tour around the city. Thanks to our project, volunteers will have the opportunity to meet new cultures and share new ideas and exchange experience. Thank you for listening. Now my colleague Eva Hanım is going to talk about finance part of our project.
Thank you. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Eva Hanım. I'm a second-year student at Middle East Technical University. My major is finance. As you see on the slide, what I think I will do is just play with money. But it's not always the case. In real life, it doesn't work at all. So, I will talk about the real finance. So, my presentation consists of 2 parts. The first part is about the expenses. All expenses that may occur during the implementation of project. And the second one is sources of funds, where we get the money. So, let's start with the expenses. As you see on the pie chart, most of our expenses stem from the machines, water hose, and such kind of tools. And also, agricultural crops are included. And buildings. What do I mean by the buildings? Buildings that our participants will stay. And also, what is social activities that our exchange students or volunteers will attend. I'm sure you all know Mr. White. We're not swimming in the money pool, but we're managing it to cover all our expenses. For sources of funds, where do we get the money? How do we finance our project? Now, that's a tricky question. So, since we are a non-profit organization, we are raising funds by three main organizations. The first one is institutional donors, where we get a huge sum of money. And the second one is governmental aid. The government supports us to increase the efficiency in production in arid areas. And the last one is angel investors. Angel investors who believe that our project is promising and will benefit to the economies of a specific region. And my colleague Burak will conclude. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Burak Topaloğlu. I'm a sophomore student in Middle East Technical University, studying business administration. And now I will conclude what my friend said about our project called Agricultural Educational Collective Camp. We are going to adopt this type of camps which originated in Israel, back in the 19th century to Turkey, to non-developed areas. Now, if you look at those pictures, we will see that those people are coming to those non-developed and arid and barren regions in order to work, but not for money. They are volunteers. They want to help. They want to increase that area's financial stuff, let's say. Okay, let's move to forward. After we started to figure it out, after we discover like what's going on around the world about the issue, we find out that in Burkina Faso there was that peasant guy named Yacoba Savage, and we read his story, and then we inspired a lot, and then we said, how can we adapt this to our country? And the benefits. First, foreigners will know our country. You guys know our country, right? You're Turkish. I mean, most of them. Sorry, my colleagues. But foreigners, they don't. I mean, of course they know, but from television, from newspapers, from media, but they don't know the real Turkish spirit. So in that way, we will send them and let them to interact with those people, those Turkish people in rural places. So, second benefit. I think there's a problem. Slides, sorry. So the second benefit is, and the most important one for us, is education. We will educate our kids throughout this project and make a bridge between those volunteers and our people. Thank you for listening.